Testing 1, 2, 3. Hey, everybody. Test 1, 2, 3. Hey, I'm not just singing. I'm actually going to start this English lesson in a moment. I'm just making sure that everything is working properly, as I like to do before I get started on this lesson about phrasal verbs. Another phrasal verb lesson. How many can I do? I think everything's working. All the right lights are on. All the indicators are green. Hopefully everything keeps working the way it's supposed to. I will take off these big headphones that are actually Jen's and set them aside, and we will get this English lesson started. Well, hello and welcome to this English lesson about phrasal verbs, which I've titled Phrasal Verbs I Haven't Taught You Yet. If you are familiar with my English lessons here on YouTube, you'll know that I've done quite a few phrasal verb lessons. And so what I did is I took all of the phrasal verb lesson transcripts and I processed them using AI and asked it to tell me what phrasal verbs haven't I taught yet. And it came up with this list of 25. Now, I do have to say, I'm not sure it's 100% accurate because I feel like some of these I've actually taught before, but some of them might be new to you, or I might use these phrasal verbs in a different way. So another lesson about phrasal verbs, those confusing little verb, like it's like a mini verb story that might mean what you think it means, or it might mean something completely different. So welcome once again to this English lesson about phrasal verbs. I have included for each verb a slide with the verb, a definition, a picture, and now for this lesson in particular, for this English lesson, an example sentence at the bottom. First time ever on Bob the Canadian's videos. And there was a request that I put a link to the actual slides in the description. I will do that after the lesson. I promise. This time, I promise I will do it. Anyways, we should get started. Welcome once again to this English lesson about phrasal verbs. Well, hello to everybody. I know it feels weird, right? I start the lesson and I'm in the moment, and then it's like I'm making a video for a bit while I do the intro. If you're wondering why I do that, the intro goes with the re-release of the lesson that comes out in a couple of days. I edit the lesson so it's shorter, but this is live. If you're watching this at 8:32 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Daylight Savings Time on August 21st, you are watching me live in real life. Put on the headphones and check the audio, and we are all here together in the same space and time learning a little bit of English. So, hey, some exciting things happening on my English learning YouTube channel this week. I have come up with a menu of things to release on the posts page. I did a photo. I'm showing you the postcards I receive. I did a little short this week. I'm trying to come up with more ways to connect with you and teach English that don't actually take a lot of time on my part. And I have neglected to respond to comments. I'm happy to say that I have bought a special timer. I will show you. I bought a special timer. And what this timer does is every day, it keeps beeping because as soon as you set this timer up, it starts. Oh, I don't think it's going to focus. I'll have to put it back here. So every day I take the timer and I choose either 25 minutes or 10 minutes. I start the timer and I reply to comments like like crazy. And if you're wondering when you see a reply to a comment from me, if it's from me, it is from me. I write the comments. I choose the emojis. It is me writing it. So I will try to do a better job at that. Yeah, in the chat, Hafia says a Pomodoro timer. It doesn't look like a tomato, but that's the theory. You choose your time, and then as soon as you set it, it starts counting down. I wish it would focus, but I wonder if my camera is being silly today. Oh, it is. Here, let's do this. The screen's going to go black for a second here, and then I will turn the camera back on, and you're all going to be like, I can't see Bob. What's happening? But just wait. In just a few seconds, you will see me again. I will reappear on the screen, I hope. I really hope that does work. Oh, there it goes. So here is the timer. Now you can see it. It says 10 on the top. If I flip it, it starts timing. If I do this, really handy. If you're studying English, you should get a timer like this. Yeah, I think it's stopped now. Okay, I'm rambling on. We should start the lesson. What should I do? I should say hi to people. Hi to Unabi, Burgett, Pedro, Mode Eggs. Oh, that's nice and so considerate of you. We appreciate your replies. Yeah, and it's fun because I actually get to know you a bit better. There's nothing wrong with, like, there's something nice about hearing from you and being able to reply. It makes it feel more like a community. Hi to Liana, Etienne, Uliana, Know That, Unabi, Mo Chien, John Wedge, Aerosmith 77, who's also known as Judith Hafiez, Julia. I'm saying hi to a lot of people here. I do have time this morning to ramble on, but I should get started. Marcellar, Meng, and all of the rest of you. If you're wondering why I seem energetic, I feel really good. I feel like I've taken most of the summer to relax a bit more than normal, to walk more than normal, to get everything working the way it's supposed to eat healthy, and I feel much, much better. Hi to Ismail, DRAR in the chat, Freddie Wolf, I forgot to mention, Juan de Prado. Mode says, I even noticed that you answered the questions below the AMA post, the ones you didn't feature in the video. I got a kick out of reading them. Yes. So in the post where I asked for questions, I answered every single question, and I will continue to do that. Because I don't want to just pick 15 or 17 questions and leave everyone else out of the party. It was a fun thing to do. So I wanted to continue the fun. Anyways, it's 8:36. We should get started. Here we go. To break up. To end a romantic relationship. And you can see in the picture, she's walking away from the guy and he is sad. An example sentence for you. My friend and his girlfriend are going to break up. So this actually has multiple meanings, and I'll explain the two that are very common. This is probably the most common way to talk about a romantic relationship ending. Did your cousin marry that girl? No, they broke up. So that's the past tense. Or are you going to continue seeing him? No, I think we're going to break up, meaning that the relationship is going to end. Always a sad moment. Sometimes not. Sometimes people break up and it's actually a good thing. But to break up means to end a romantic relationship. Here's another way to use it. If I buy a chocolate bar, I can break up the chocolate bar into pieces, and then Jen and I can share the pieces. So you can use it to talk about making something into smaller parts as well. But for this lesson, to break up, to end a romantic relationship, and then I'm only going to read this once, so I'll leave this for you to read again if you rewatch the lesson. To break out, to escape from a place where you are being kept. So this gentleman looks like he's in prison, and it looks like he's trying to break out. The prisoner tried to break out of prison. So I don't know why this is an example, but if you were, well, I guess this is the best example. If you committed a crime, if you were put in jail, or if you were put in prison, by the way, they're kind of the same thing, you might decide that you want to break out. You might decide that you want to escape. It's a bad idea. I don't have a lot of advice to give other than don't break the law and don't get arrested. But if you happen to be arrested, don't try to break out. It's just going to make things worse. So to break out, to escape from a place where you are being kept. To bring back, to return something to the place or person it came from. I chose a picture of someone with a box of books because often when I used to go to the library, I would forget to bring back the books. And then luckily our library doesn't charge a fine. Some libraries, if you bring the books back late, notice I split the phrasal verb there. If you bring the books back late, they will charge you money. But here's your example sentence. I need to bring these books back to the library. So again, If I borrow something from someone, I can bring it back. And again, notice sometimes with some phrasal verbs, you can split the verb. I need to bring it back. If I borrow my brother's car, I need to bring it back. To return something to the place or person it came from. To bring out. To take something out so that people can see or use it. And you see here, there's a very fancy party happening, and this person decided that it's time to bring out the food. Let me get this picture a little bigger for you. So when you bring something out, it means it's for everyone to see or enjoy or use. If I had a party at around 10 p.m., I would bring out the chips and other snacks. If you're in a restaurant, you wait for the waiter or server to bring out your food. So to bring out, to take something out so that people can see or use it. To call back, to phone someone who called you earlier. The other day, I noticed that my mom had called and I wasn't home. She called on our landline, our old-fashioned home phone, and I decided that I didn't have time to call her back right then, so I decided to call her back the next day. To call back is, here's your example sentence, I need to call my friend back after work. So again, you can split this phrasal verb. I need to call her back. I need to call my friend back after work. I'm just going to give you the examples of when you can split these, but not all phrasal verbs can be split, but some you can split. So to call back, to phone someone who called you earlier, your example sentence, I need to call my friend back after work. To carry out, to do or complete a task or plan, and your example sentence, the workers need to carry out a safety inspection. So when you carry something out, it means you do it. When I make a lesson plan, I need to carry out the lesson plan when I get to my class. I need to actually do the lesson. And then safety inspection is a great example. Most places of work need to carry out a safety inspection every 3 months or every 6 months. At my work, they need to carry out training every 6 months for certain things like safety. So to carry out, to do or complete a task or plan. To check in and to check out. I really think I taught these before, and it might have been in a travel lesson, but to check in means to arrive and register at a hotel or airport. And your example sentence, we will need to check in for our flight the day before we leave on our vacation. And the picture is actually a person at the airport. You do need to check in when you arrive at the airport as well. When you check in, it simply means you go to a person or to a computer terminal and you let the airport know that you are still planning to take the flight, that you are aware that the flight is leaving at a certain time, and that you are ready to come to the airport. Or if you're at the airport, you are saying, I'm here, I'm ready to go on my flight. So to check in, to arrive and register at a hotel or airport. To check out, the opposite, to leave a hotel after paying and returning your key. So notice you don't check out of an airport, okay? But here's your example sentence. We have to check out of the hotel by 11 a.m. This is a pretty common time to do that. You can see these people have their luggage and they have decided to check out. So to check out, to leave a hotel after paying and returning your key. Hey, let's do some questions. It was fun to see the chat going along. Mode says, great question. Make sure you send it through the form. Yes, the form is the best way to do it. Freddie says, sometimes viruses break out. Yes, that's true as well. Okay, let me get to actual questions from the form. Let me see here what's on the screen, my little welcome message. Here we go. From Know That. Hello, Bob. In your opinion, what is the best way to learn and retain phrasal verbs? How do you incorporate them into a learning routine? Thanks a lot, Bob. My biggest recommendation for people is to learn phrasal verbs so that you understand them when you hear them and when you read them. That is the first and best step with phrasal verbs. You actually don't need to use phrasal verbs when you start speaking English or writing English. You can usually find other ways to say things. But once you start identifying them in your listening and your reading, keep a journal of those phrasal verbs. And the biggest thing I recommend is if you can draw a small sketch of its meaning, you will remember it better. So the best way to learn them through reading and writing, the best way to retain them, keep some notes. And then I would say, like if you watch a TV show and you hear a phrasal verb 5 times, that's probably a very common and important one. So try to use it in your next conversation or writing. By the way, even though these are phrasal verbs I supposedly haven't taught you before, they are all very common. Like I use every single one of these. I bet you if you analyzed what I say or write for a week, I probably use more than half of these. If you analyzed what I said for a month, I probably use all of them. So very, very common. Let's see here. Hi, Bob. Having an unusual question, I ask excuse for it. What kind of phrasal verb can we use to make someone less polite with someone else? Thank you. That's a difficult one. Like, when you tell someone to shut up, that means to stop talking. That's a very blunt and direct way of telling someone to be less polite. I can't think of a phrasal verb, but in English, we talk about speaking directly. When you speak directly, you are less polite and you simply communicate information. So you might just ask the person to speak more directly. From Love You, what if someone in the 1970s or 80s, imagine that we can chat and see someone in real time from thousands of kilometers distance? It's just wild, isn't it? Sometimes I have to remind myself how amazing this is, that I'm sitting here in my house out on a farm in the middle of nowhere, and 167 people are listening to me and learning English. Sorry, I'm saying this is amazing. I'm not saying I'm amazing. I don't want to sound arrogant, but the technology, the computers, the internet, the cameras, a lot of you are watching this on a phone right now. It's just cool. It's cool and amazing. So, Judith, hi Bob, your timer is a nice small one. Can you use a difficult phrasal verb using its type name? Thank you. Not really. Let me look at my list here. Trying to think up. I'm going to teach the phrasal verb to end up. So I looked at 5 or 6 different timers and I ended up, past tense, buying this timer. So this is the one. I didn't know I was going to end up buying this, but I'll teach to end up in a bit, but that's the phrasal verb I would use. And then they had it in the right color. I liked it that it was orange. It was kind of fun. Anyways, enough beeping. Let me put that aside. From Ismail, hope you're doing well, Bob. When you lose focus, what's the difference between zoning out and drifting off? Can you use them interchangeably? When you zone out, you are awake and still alert. You are just thinking about other things. If you're sitting at home right now watching this live English lesson and you're actually not hearing me, you're thinking about sports cars, I would say that you are zoning out. When you drift off, it often references like you might be falling asleep a little bit. Like he drifted off during the lesson. I would imagine someone who maybe their head is nodding a little bit. Let's ask the internet for the difference between those two. Difference. That is not the right. I don't have my hands on the right spot on the keyboard. Difference between drift off and zone out. Here we go. Drift off, passing from wakefulness to actual sleep. He was so tired that he started to drift off during the movie. There you go. Zone out means to simply be distracted or to be mentally thinking about something else. So there you go. That is the difference. Oh, I should do a little check here. Yeah, everything's working great. I love it when everything works great because I can be more relaxed. From Eva, hi Bob, I have a question. Is there some difference, little fix there, between calm down and settle down? Thanks for answering. When children are being hyper, when they are being loud, you might say, hey, can you guys just settle down? Okay. They're boisterous and they're having excited behavior. When you might use calm down as well. I think there is a subtle difference. If someone is upset and crying or yelling, I might ask them to calm down. And specifically, if children are playing and being rambunctious, there's a great word for you. Rambunctious means to just act all crazy, like me hitting my microphone. I would probably tell them to settle down. So I would say this. If students were angry on the bus driver would say, hey, everyone calm down. We're going to figure this out. Stop yelling at me. If students on a bus were yelling and throwing things, the bus driver would say, hey, settle down. This behavior isn't acceptable. Okay, here we go. A couple more and we'll get back to it. From Takagaro, hello, dear teacher Bob. Would you mind if I ask Little Fix, which LLM do you use and why? I have been using ChatGPT as a thought finisher or an organizing tool. Those would be the two things that I use it for most. Here's a really good example. When I design a Friday lesson, I have an idea in mind from my real life, and generally I want 25 to 30 words or phrases. On my own, in my head, I can kind of riff and figure out probably 20 or 25 words. It's pretty easy. For this lesson, I was able to, well, this one I was kind of sorting through and I was doing search in my text document. I would find a new phrasal verb or think of one, and then I would search the 8 transcripts. Anyways, sometimes I will ask ChatGPT, I will say, hey, here are 25 words I'm going to teach on Friday. Can you think of 5 more? Or if I could only think of 20. The other thing I use it for is research. Like if I'm thinking of buying something new, I might say, hey, I'm thinking of buying this or this. What are the pros and cons of both? And then it will quickly analyze and tell me. That's what I find it useful for. But I don't use it for writing. Like I don't know. I've always enjoyed writing. So anything that I do in writing, I do myself because then I'm creative and I don't know. And I don't use it for making Tuesday lessons because those are always like, I need a really good idea. And then once I have the idea, then I sit and type like crazy to make a little draft of the lesson. Okay, one more. And we'll get back to the lesson. From Elliot, hi Bob, I've just started learning English and came across your live stream. Well, welcome. As a beginner, which videos on your channel should I start with? So this is a common question and there's no good answer. My English lessons have no order. There's no system to it. It's simply you having kind of a view into the life of a native English speaker who teaches the phrases and words that he commonly comes across each week. So you can watch any video. There is no particular order. Most people enjoy the week-to-week videos because it's basically me from like the day before making an English lesson. So you see the weather change, you see the seasons change, and it's just me saying, hey, I went to the bank this week, so here's a lesson about money. So no real rhyme or reason. Although the lessons themselves, I would say, are fairly logical. I do like to design them to be very logical. Mode says, I'm still in denial about that. So maybe it was Bib who broke out the hammock and Bob is just taking the credit for it. Hey, it's a great hammock. It rained the other day and it's dry within like 10 minutes. We left it outside. I did go and I bought little clip hooks for each end though, so we can quickly unclip it from the tree and bring it inside next time. So, because I do want to take care of it. Okay, let's get back to the lesson. I know there are more questions, but let's return to the lesson and then I'll do questions again in 10 minutes. Okay. What should I do? Check this one more time? Yeah, let's do that before I switch. There we go. Yeah, we're doing okay here. To clean up, to make a place clean and tidy. In your example sentence, they decided to clean up the garbage in the park. Now, you might be wondering, why don't you just say clean? When you say you're going to clean something, it usually means like soap, water, disinfectant. Like, I'm going to clean the bathroom. I'm putting toilet bowl cleaner in and cleaning the toilet. When you clean up, the word up helps you understand that you're actually picking up garbage, and like, if I was to tidy up a room, I would say I'm going to clean up the room. But if I say clean, I think soap, I think cleaner, I think mop and bucket. So to clean up, to make a place clean and tidy. The example sentence, they decided to clean up the garbage in the park. By the way, anyone who does this, I think that is awesome. If you are someone who goes out and helps clean up public spaces, you are an awesome person and you deserve some kind of reward in life. To come back, to return to a place. She was happy that her husband was able to come back one day early. When I go to work, eventually I come back home. So you have to think about this in terms of who's talking. When I go to work, Jen looks forward to the fact that I will come back home later in the day. When I go to work and I'm at work, I look forward to going back home. Okay, so the comeback kind of puts the speaker or thinker in the place where the other person will be arriving to. Like if someone says, were you happy to come back home? It indicates that I am already home. Okay, so anyways, to come back, to return to a place. To come over, to visit someone at their house. My parents are planning to come over tonight. In a few days, I have a friend who is going to come over because he is going to show me his new car. So when you have someone come over, again, it indicates the speaker or the thinker is in a location and someone else will be coming to that location. So you might say to someone, is anyone going to come over for dinner tonight? Jen, is anyone going to come over for dinner tonight? And Jen might say, nope, it's just the two of us. So to come over, to visit someone at their home. To end up, to be in a particular place or situation after decisions, choices, or mistakes. And you can see here a dead-end street. The person in the car is saying, how did we end up here? And then the example, they didn't want to end up on the wrong road. So when you end up somewhere, it's kind of like the final thing in a series of things. And you can even use it to ask people questions like this. How did you end up living in Toronto? How did you end up becoming a teacher? How did you end up buying that timer, Bob? How did you end up buying that? Because it's cool. That's how I ended up buying it. So think about a number of things that happen. And then this is kind of the final place or situation after those things happen. So I decided I wanted a timer. I went online and shopped for a timer. I actually asked someone in my family what they thought of the timer. And then I ended up, past tense, I ended up buying that timer. To give in, to stop resisting and agree to what someone wants. My friend finally decided to give in and come to the movie with me. So picture a situation where I want to go to a movie and Jen doesn't. And I just keep saying, Jen, come on, Spider-Man's going to be amazing. You should come to the movie with me. And if Jen says, I don't like action movies, but eventually Jen might decide to give in. She might decide to say, you know what? It'll be fun. We can go out and have a hamburger beforehand. She'll decide to give in, to stop resisting and agree to what someone wants. So to give in, you should do this nicely, by the way. You don't want to force someone to give in. It's nice just to use logic and good arguments to convince someone. To go off, to suddenly make a loud sound. My alarm clock is set to go off at 6 a.m. every morning. Sometimes at school, the fire alarm will go off. So the bell will ring indicating we need to leave the building. It's always a test, but you never know. So it's when something beeps. You might set your phone you might set the timer to go off in 10 minutes. This is another, how many times am I going to show this thing? If I want to study or reply to comments for 10 minutes, I will do this. And then the alarm, it will go off in 10 minutes. Should I just set it for 5 minutes and then let it go? And then it will beep in 5 minutes. The alarm will go off in 5 minutes and you'll have a concrete example of it happening. If I could, I would put it on my shoulder so you could watch it. Maybe I can just put it here for the next little bit. This isn't going to work, but here we go. To grow up, to gradually become this isn't going to work. This is going to fall off and distract me. So we'll put it, bear with me. We'll put it there. To grow up, to gradually become an adult. And then the example, every child hopes to grow up happy and healthy. So in this case, you see the classic lineup of people from a child to a teenager to an adult to a senior. Everyone has to grow up. I mean, that's how life works. As you live your life, you are a child, and then eventually you're a teenager, and then eventually you're an adult, and eventually you're retired, and you could do whatever you want in life. So to grow up, to gradually become an adult. To leave out, to not include someone or something. It isn't very nice to leave someone out when planning a family event. So if you have 3 brothers and 2 sisters, and you plan to have a birthday party for your dad, and you don't tell your one brother, you have decided to leave him out. Again, this verb can be split. It's not nice to leave someone out. When you play games at school as a child, sometimes kids are mean and they will decide to leave out a certain person. So 5 kids will play and they will leave out one of the other children for who knows what reason. But to leave out means to not include someone or something. To let down, to disappoint someone. When their friends canceled on them, they were let down. So let's say we invited some friends over for dinner, and then we made a really nice meal, or we're in the process of making it, and they call and cancel. We would be let down because we had prepared this meal, or we were preparing this meal, and we were excited to see them. We would be let down. We would be disappointed. So to let down, to disappoint someone. I have to check the timer. Okay, in 2.5 minutes, it's going to go off. Okay, so here, let's go back here. The timer is going to go off in 2.5 minutes now. To look into, to investigate something, to learn more about it. The police promised to look into the repeated theft in the neighborhood. I'm not sure what it's like where you live, but in a town near me, there is one neighborhood where there is quite a bit of what we would call petty crime. Like bicycles get stolen, e-bikes get stolen. Someone stole someone's plants off their porch. So the police obviously are going to look into that. They're going to send a police cruiser, a police car into that neighborhood more often. They're going to try and figure out who is actually committing the crime. So they're definitely going to look into it, which is good. I think that's the whole point of having police, is so that you can have law and order. To make up, to invent a story or explanation that is not true. You see the child here is saying, my dog ate my homework. This is the classic excuse. Like, it's a funny joke, but it's the classic excuse. And then students sometimes decide to make up a story instead of telling the truth. So if you decide to lie, you've decided to make up a story. If you decide to tell someone something that isn't true, it means you have used your imagination to tell that story. So to make up, to invent a story or explanation that is not true. And the example, students sometimes decide to make up a story instead of telling the truth. Pretty common. So one more slide here, and then we will do some questions. To move on, to stop focusing on something and continue with your life. So here you can obviously see I used AI to make this photo. She decided to move on and find a new job. So there's the old job. And in the AI photo, her new job is right next to her old job. But she's decided to move on. She maybe didn't like her old job anymore, and she wants to go and work somewhere else. She's decided to move on. When people break up, so the alarm clock I said was going to go off, and it did. So now I'm just going to do this. And you all have an example of the phrasal verb to go off. That was the phrasal verb, right? To go off. Did I get that right? Where is that slide? I'm trying to find it on my screen right now. Why can I know? Oh, there it is, to go off. Yes. Anyways, sometimes when people are dating, they break up. One partner decides to move on. They decide they don't want to be in the relationship anymore. So to move on, to stop focusing on something and continue with your life. Hey, let's do members only chat. If you don't know what members only chat is, during these live lessons, if you are a member, you can ask questions directly in the chat, and I'm just turning that on right now. I'm going to just check my audio, and we will do members only chat, and I will continue to answer questions from the form, and we will finish the lesson off. I have about 6 more slides in just a little bit. From Unabi, I know native speakers use a lot of phrasal verbs with the verb kick in everyday speaking. Lots of them seem pretty informal. Can you give a couple examples? Thanks. When you drink coffee with caffeine in it, it can take a while for the caffeine to kick in, or maybe it will kick in right away. So when something kicks in, it means you're feeling the effect. If a student misbehaves, I might decide to kick them out. When you kick someone out, it means you ask them to leave a certain place where they are. And then the school year is going to kick off in a couple of weeks. When something kicks off, it means it gets started. I think I did a whole lesson once on the verb to kick. I should look that up. I'm pretty sure I did, and I think it was fairly recently. But I'll look. You can look for that yourself. Search for Bob the Canadian, the verb to kick. From Know That, hey Bob, what are your plans for today and this weekend? Are you going to go out and about, or just enjoying a more low-key weekend? A heartfelt thank you, sir. So it is back to school shopping weekend. The kids, even though 2 are university age, 1 is still in high school, they do start school again soon. They have a week and a half, I think. But we do need to go and do some back to school shopping. So I know we did a little bit already. As well, what else am I doing? I'm trying to think through my week. No, that's next weekend. I know it's Jen's mom's birthday is coming up, but I don't think that's this weekend. It might be. I might be going to a birthday party. I'll let you know. But yeah, so not low key. Things are starting to, at least in my mind as a dad, I'm having to plan and organize a lot. Ismail, as the new school year approaches, how does it feel this time? After all these years, has anything changed in how you feel about starting a new school year? So I actually am teaching 1 more French class and 1 less business class. And honestly, teaching the French class, it's not simpler, it's more straightforward for me. It's very well planned. And so I'm less stressed than normal, even though I would say I'm not that stressed ever for the school year now. It's pretty, yeah, I'm pretty used to it. John Wedge has sent a gift membership, and Kwan Lee has received it. So Kwan, you can now see all of the posts, all of the members' posts on the posts tab. Ralph says, hey Bob, I hope you're well. You said cruiser and police cruiser before, seemingly for police car. Is this common English? I never heard cruiser in this combination before. Yes, police cruiser and police car are the same term. I don't know if it's Canadian, but there were 4 police cruisers down that road, which means 4 police cars. No, that says there's always a job opportunity down the street or at the company in the next building. Yes, especially in AI generated photos, apparently. John Wedge, hey Bob, no question today. Just having fun with phrasal verbs. I love it. Hey folks, don't forget to give a thumbs up. Yes, thanks for that, John. From Mode, hey, I did volunteer to clean up the beach in some parks a couple times in the past. It wasn't too bad, actually. There's something about, there's an English word, camaraderie, and that's like the joy of working with other people. often when you volunteer to help clean up a public park or a beach like Mode, there's something enjoyable about doing a job with other people, even if the job is messy and dirty. And then often when you're done, there might be snacks or you might sit around and chat. So very cool Mode. As I said, if you have ever helped clean up, you are awesome. Ismail, Bob, do you call the glove used to pull back the bowstring a shooting glove or an archery glove? Is the name different for the glove worn on the bow hand? I wear the same glove on both hands. It is a 3-finger archery glove. So it allows me to draw with those 3 fingers. I don't have it here right now. I think it's in a drawer over there. So I call it my archery gloves. And I wear the same on both hands because when I fire 12 arrows, then I actually pull the bow and hold it for 3 seconds. And I do that 12 times with the opposite arm because I don't want to overdevelop one side of my body. When you do archery, it does build or strengthen muscle. And so in order to stay square, I like to do that. So let's see here. Know that. Speaking of back to school, which period will you be teaching after the summer break? Are you staying with the current period or switching to a different one again? I'm pretty sure I'm 2 and 3 or 3 and 4. So I will be able to continue doing 8:30 a.m. live streams on Fridays. So that is good. I think it's 3 and 4. I have to double check, but it's not mornings. Or if it is, it's late morning. From Freddie, Bob, it's crazy how phrasal verbs seem to have no end. There are so many, right? Even in French, I don't know them all. It's kind of a never-ending story. Yes, I'm shocked at how many there are. Know that. How was the market yesterday? I made a members only short at the market. I thought it'd be fun, and I'll put that out on Monday. Sales were good. Yeah, they were slow at first. I hope sales went well. Did you join Jen, or were you holding down the fort while she was there? No, I actually went with Jen, helped Jen set up, and then I went and picked my mom up. She lives somewhat close. I took my mom to market. We walked the market. We sat and had a snack. An hour or so later, I brought my mom home again. And then I went back and helped Jen for the rest of it. Jen doesn't really need help, but it is nice to hang out together. From Pedro, talking to Gaeta, that's tough. Time shift has a big impact, doesn't it? Your brain takes a while to adapt. I personally didn't like it at all. Probably talking about like working night shifts and stuff. From Mode, I said I volunteered, but maybe it was community service because some petty crime I did. I'm trying to shine up my public image here, okay? Yeah, so there's 2 reasons to clean up the park. Number 1, you volunteer. Number 2, you committed a minor offense or crime and they told you had to do community service hours. Hafiez, there was an earthquake today in South Peru. I think that's far from where Brent's staying though. Oh, I didn't know that. I should ask Brent. Let's text Brent. It's the same time zone, right? Let's see here. Brent. I'll just say earthquake? Question mark. We'll see if he responds. Let's see. Know that. Have you already had a campfire or kicked off barbecue season, or has that not been allowed because of the wildfires? We have. Yeah, we actually had one for my birthday. I'm not going to say when, but we had sausage on a bun and hot dogs. It was really fun. And I had all my kids over, so that was great. Freddie Wolf, Bob, as you teach French every new school year, do you keep or do you change your teaching method? No, but yes, a bit. So I like to keep some of the music I use current. So I'm always looking for new French songs that are appropriate for a classroom because I don't want to teach, like if we listen to a song for fun, I don't want it to be like 15 years old, or I don't want all of them to be old. I want 1 or 2 new ones. Key Park, it's about the move-in day of freshmen of university, right? It is almost move-in day. Yes, that will come soon. From Ismail, just one more question. In archery, do you consider an archer right or left-handed based on the hand they draw the bowstring with or the hand they hold the bow with? Thanks. So it's the hand you draw with. So I am a right-handed, so I draw with my right hand. Mode says, wait, there's phrasal verbs in French too. Okay, let me review and then we will get back to the lesson. I'm just scrolling back to make sure that I've answered every single one. I think so. Hey, if I missed your question, any of you members, just post in the chat. Just repost it or tell me. I think I got all of them. And then from Ralph, why learning English if a short earthquake is enough to send a message with such a long meaning? I think about that. Right. Yeah. You just need to learn one word sentence. No, that says, I recently stumbled upon the expression to be born on third base, Bob. Could you explain its meaning and give a few examples of how it's used? I have not used that phrase before. It might be very American. I'm going to assume it means that you had an advantage in life, but we might be wrong. There's the phrase to be born with a silver spoon in your mouth, which means that you had an advantage. Yes, to start life with major unearned advantages, like your parents are rich or your family knows other wealthy people or high social standing. So not a common phrase for me, but there is the meaning. Mode. Oh, before I forget, someone asked if to break up is only used in romantic relationships, or can it also be used for friendships? No, you don't use it. I don't use it for friendships. You would probably say they're no longer friends, or you would say the friendship fell apart, but you wouldn't use to break up. As soon as you say, did you hear Joe broke up? It's usually followed with his partner, with his girlfriend. So, thanks for answering my questions, Bob. No problem. Mode says there was an important thing to clear up. Okay, let me turn off members only chat while also thanking you for being members. If you are not a member of the channel, let me explain just briefly what you get. So first of all, you get your name in green during a live lesson. You can ask questions during members only chat. You get a small crown by your name. You get like a lesson plan on Mondays, a written lesson plan that is written by me, Bob the Canadian. And I've been doing that for a very long time, which gives you some suggestions of things you can do, websites you could read, songs you can listen to sometimes. And then on Wednesdays, you get Wednesdays with Bob. And then in an odd, energetic moment, I made a members only short this past week. And I actually have another one that I'm going to put out next week. I don't know if those will continue, but that's another thing you might be able to see. Freddie Wolf says, Mode eggs. Yes, there are so many too. Every once in a while, I hear new phrasal verbs. Yes. There you go. No response from Brent. We'll see. Hopefully he's okay. Now I'm worried. I'm sure he's fine. Okay, back to the lesson. Here we go. To pass out. To suddenly become unconscious. She felt like she was going to pass out from the heat. When it's really hot outside, sometimes you feel like you might pass out, especially if you haven't had enough water. When people drink too many alcoholic beverages, they can pass out because the amount of alcohol in their bloodstream is too high. So to pass out, to suddenly become unconscious. And this does have another meaning. In class as a teacher, sometimes I will pass out papers to the student. I will pass out pencils. When you give a whole bunch of people something, it is to pass out. So, but this is the meaning we're looking at today. You can see something has gone wrong here. It has been too hot, and she felt like she was going to pass out from the heat, and it looks like she did. To set off, to begin a journey. He plans to set off early tomorrow morning. When are you going to set off? I hear you're going to visit your mom in the Netherlands. When you're going to set off? We're going to set off at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. So to set off, to begin a journey. He plans to set off early tomorrow morning. This almost always refers to a trip. Like Jen doesn't set off for market at a certain time. But if Jen and I go to visit her sister, who lives a few hours away, we might say, hey, we should set off at like 5 a.m. so we get there by 8 o'clock. To set off, to begin a journey. I really think I taught this one before. To take off, to leave the ground and begin flying. After a delay, they said the plane would be able to take off at 11 a.m. So you can see here the plane. I can never tell if it's landing or taking off, but I think this is a picture of a plane taking off. to take off, to leave the ground and begin flying. And one alternate meaning, when you're somewhere, you can decide to take off. Like I went to the party and it was kind of boring, so I decided to take off at 10 p.m. So to take off, to leave the ground and begin flying, or to leave a situation. To take over, to take control of something. Sometimes a business will take over another business. Here you have welcome new boss. The new boss is ready to take over the leadership of the company. So she is going to take control. She is going to run the company. You sometimes hear this in business. There's something called a hostile takeover, where one big corporation or company will forcefully buy another company. To take over, to take control of something. To turn out, to have a particular result. These cupcakes are going to turn out great. You can see the person is putting icing on them. They're already baked. So the result they're looking for is perfection and greatness. These cupcakes are going to turn out great. When you have children, you hope that your kids turn out really, really good. You hope that they are, as adults, they are polite and kind and contribute to the world. So to turn out, to have a particular result. These cupcakes are going to turn out great. Hey, that's the end of the formal lesson. We will now spend some time looking at the remaining questions. Let's see here. I see some members only chat. Let me catch up on that. 3,000 years ago, Manuel says, Egyptians were fighting with bows and arrows and chariots with 2 wheels. Yes. Mode says, that's going to fall apart, to grow, drift apart for friendships. Can you think of any more? Yeah, you can fall out with a friend and you can grow apart and drift apart. Yes, excellent. Manuel, yes, with temperatures over 40 degrees in Spanish Maillard, people are passed out as birds and flies. Little chat going on here. I like seeing chat. Lots of chat. Okay, let me get to the questions. I'm off track here. We should wrap this up and finish it in a timely fashion. There are 21 questions left. I better get moving. Here we go. Ismail, can drone on simply describe talking for a long time in a monotonous way, or does it always imply that you're boring the listener? Thanks. There is an implication that it is boring. Okay. I don't watch Bob the Canadian's live streams because he just drones on and on. You're implying that I am boring. So by the way, the people that think I'm boring don't actually watch. So it's a win-win, right? If you like listening to me, that's great. If you don't, guess what? There are so many other people that you can listen to. Okay, next question. Geta. Hello, Bob. Great topic today. May I use a verb bring out for info products, online course, or is it used just for physical items such as food? No, you could say, I teach online lessons and I'm going to bring out a new. No, I think you would offer. I think you would use, you can use it, but I would probably use the verb offer. Okay. So they're going to offer a new line of cars. They're going to bring out a new line of cars. Yes. In that case, you can use it. Yeah. Ford's going to bring out a new line of cars next year. But I would think offer and bring out are very similar. But yeah, a little bit of a distinction. Hard to kind of explain. Hasham says, hi, Bob, sir. Hello, Hasham. From Ibrahima, I need more than vocabulary. So when you build something, you have to start somewhere. And so vocabulary is where you start. The reason with languages that we start with vocabulary is it can be learned in small chunks and it can help you begin to understand what people are saying. So for instance, if you know the word dog, and then I say, I like dogs. You might only hear the word dog, but you see me smile and give a thumbs up. And now you know one of the sounds you heard must mean a positive thing, right? So vocabulary is it's a necessary thing to start learning a language. Once you know 500 words or 1,000 words, you can start to build sentences. But yes. Okay, from Judith. Hi, Bob. Is it better to speak with or without phrasal verbs? Do we have to use them? Thanks. So recommendation is always this: learn them through reading and writing. Once you know one or two of them well, start to use it in your writing and speaking. Did I say reading and writing? Learn them through reading and listening, and then start. You kind of have to identify the most common ones, but you don't have to use them. Okay. I could do an entire conversation and probably avoid most of these. There's usually another verb that means the same thing in some cases, not all. Like to end up, I can't think of another verb for that. I guess you could just say we drove all day and we ended up in the wrong place. We drove all day and then we were in the wrong place. So I could communicate without a phrasal verb there. Drove all day. And in the end we were in the wrong. Yeah, I think I did use it there. It's the end of the lesson. I'm giving bad examples. Hasham, hi Bob, sir. Can you please give examples of conjunction and phrasal verbs? I can't really. Phrasal verbs can be used in compound sentences, so I'm just going to avoid that one because I don't. What should I look it up? Phrasal verb with a conjunction example. I wonder if you mean contraction, but anyways, she woke up and turned on the light. Yeah, like you can make compound and complex sentences with them. You might mean contractions, possibly. I'm not sure. Azad says, hello, my master. How are you? I want to visit the country in a normal way. Well, I hope you find time to do that at some point. Freddie says, oh, I should put it on the screen. Back to school time is just around the corner. Have you already got your school bag and colored pens ready? We did actually buy colored pens for one of my kids, but she did not need a new school bag, and I don't use a school bag. Did you know that? I don't bring anything back and forth to school, just my lunch. Love You says, have you ever played chess? As a kid, my older brother liked to play chess. I did play against him, and I almost always lost. From Judith. Hi, Bob. If you use an idiom, will you use it with or without a phrasal verb? Can you state a few examples? Thank you. So idioms are like similar to phrasal verbs, but they're like longer phrases that might have an obvious meaning or might not. So I can't think of, I'm sure there's a lot of overlap, Judith, but I can't think of an example right now. Game over. Which game over hurt you the most? I don't know, when Canada lost in the World Cup, I thought they might have a chance to go one round further. Yurliana, hi there, Bob. How do you use hunker down? Thanks. So when the weather's bad in the winter, instead of going out, Jen and I might decide to just hunker down, which means to stay at home, watch TV, read a book, and do those kinds of things. So that's how I would almost always use it, usually in bad weather situations. Unabi, is there any difference between to give in and to give up? Thanks a lot, Bob. So when you give in, I always think it means there's two people and you give in and the other person wins. When you give up, it just means to quit. Like, I was playing chess and my brother was beating me, so I just decided to give in. Or I wasn't winning the argument, so I just decided to give in. But if I was trying to do a certain exercise at the gym, I might just decide to give up if it is too hard. Let's see here. Geita, another question. I would use the word give up agreeing with someone else. Does it sound correct? Is there any difference between give in and give up? Yes. As stated, there definitely is a difference between give in and give up. Mock-up means, so a mock-up is actually a noun. I would use it as a noun. So if I was going to build a shed, I could make a little mock-up. I could build a little shed out of cardboard as a mock-up. If you are performing a play, the stage, someone might make a mock-up, a little miniature of the stage, what it's going to look like. So I would use that as a noun. From Hasham, Bob, sir, can I use be off as get off? I'm going to be off. Well, I'm off. Yes. Yep, I'm going to be. Yeah, we definitely say I'm off. Well, I'm off. It's you. But no, not as get out, as, to leave someone. Get out is simply like you're in a car and you're in an accident. You need to get out of the car. If someone's not behaving in a class, I can say get out. So be off is more like a voluntary decision to leave. Like, well, I'm off. Whereas to get out is more of an action. Azad. Hello, respected. How can I find a job opportunity in Canada? I usually recommend that people go to the Canadian government website and search for work permits. So just search working in Canada, work permits for people from Iraq. That's what I would look for. And you will find lots of information there. Stranger, hi. A Brazilian singer broke out of the country and became famous worldwide. Explain that phrasal verb, please. Thank you kindly. So I taught the verb to break out as someone escaping from prison. When you, as a musician or actor, when you break out, it usually means you are now popular in more places than just your home city or home country. And we use it as a noun as well. Like that song was a breakout. It means that song did better than every other song. And as an adjective, it was a breakout song for that person. So yes, another meaning for that verb. Let's see here. Hasham, is there a bow behind you? There is, yes. Right there, there's a 14-pound draw, what's called a bear bow. So it's not a compound bow. It is a recurve bear bow. So I have not been using it as much as I want to, but I have been using it. From Judith, let me get back here. Hi, Bob. If something happens, will you speak about it using phrasal verbs or not? Is something depends upon it. Thanks. So here's the thing with native English speakers. We don't really know the difference between a normal verb and a phrasal verb because in our minds, we don't think about the grammar as we're speaking. It's just automatic. So I just use phrasal verbs all the time. I probably used phrasal verbs to explain other phrasal verbs during this lesson. So yeah, we would, and we wouldn't know we were using them. Natalia, hi Bob. My question is, if pass out is a synonym to hand out, yes. I can hand out candy. I can pass out candy. They are the same in that particular usage. Unsel says, hi Bob, I'm super busy today. Oh, I hope it's going well. So I won't be able to attend the stream, but I wanted to drop in and say hello. I'm sorry I can't join. You're awesome. Bye. Well, thank you for dropping in, Unsel, and leaving that message. Very nice of you. I hope your day is going well, even though it is busy. From Judith, hi Bob, I gave in a lot in order to reach it. Is it better with gave up? Thanks. I would say gave up. Like I gave up a lot when I went to university. I could have stayed home and worked on the farm. I could have become a farmer with my mom and dad. So I gave up a lot. So I would use gave up in that situation, meaning that you sacrificed something for something else. How often do you say, little fix, how often do you say, get out of my class to your students? Never. I usually say, can I talk to you in the hallway for a moment? I usually do not say, get out. I don't say, go to the hall. I don't say, go to the principal's office. My tactic with a student who is misbehaving has always been to make sure the class is working on something. And I just say, hey, can we just step into the hall for a minute? I just need to talk to you about something. And then the rest of the students usually go, ooh, Joey's in trouble. But that has been my strategy. I don't yell at students. I do speak sternly sometimes, but usually I want to have a conversation with them. Okay, so that's the end of the lesson. No response from Brent. Hopefully he's doing okay down there. Thanks for watching. A few things you should know. This lesson will be edited. I will remove all of the extra things. I will remove the viewer questions. So it will become a pure English lesson. It'll be, I think this one will be about 24 minutes long, my guess, and it will just be the slides. Also, I will put a link in the description below in just a moment. Should we do that now while we're all here? Let me see if I can do that. Okay, so we go here. I find the slides. This is not my account. You guys can't see what I'm doing, but I'm going to find the slides for this lesson. And I'm going to open it. It's not a PDF, but it is a Google Doc. And then I'm going to say share. Anyone with a link can view. Done. Oh, I didn't copy the link. Share, copy the link. And then over here, I'm going to edit. I'm going to take this out. And if you scroll down in this, here are the slides for your enjoyment. And someone once said I should give you the slides before. Here are the slides. Maybe I should start doing that. Do you guys in the chat, can you oh, I think that's okay. I think OBS disconnected and it's now reconnecting. Anyways, I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher. And so how many times have I got to say that? I'm a teacher, and I know that the more things you provide for students, the less they'll actually learn. So my theory has always been that while you watch my lessons, you should be taking notes. Quite often people want the slides so they can follow along, but honestly, I don't know. You guys vote. It looks like 86% of you would like. How do I stop the poll? Let me see here. I don't know how to stop the poll. It's just stuck there. Oh, I click it. Do you want the slides before the lesson, or is it or is after okay? 82% say yes. 82%. Okay. Well, let me think about that. I usually post a link to the question form just before the lesson starts. Maybe I'll post a link to the slides as well before it starts. Here are the slides. Yeah, let me think about that. I understand that it would be helpful, but I think you understand what I'm saying though, right? The more I can make the words go through your brain and out your hand, or that you type it, the more you will really actually remember them. Anyways, enough of me talking. I'm starting to drone on and people are going to start to drift off. What was the other one? To drift off, to zone out. Yeah, there we go. I think that was the other one. Anyways, yeah, there was a little connection problem there. I should end the poll, shouldn't I? Let me do that. End poll so you can see the results. I think you guys get to see the results now. Do you want the slides before the lesson? Yes, no. So 44 votes. Thanks for voting. I should do more polls during the lesson, shouldn't I? Let me think about that too. Anyways, bye everybody. You're all awesome. Have a great week. Don't forget to rewatch the shorter version. Repetition is boring, but awesome. It can be two things at once. And I'll see you next week with another video. Bye.